Hi everyone, Yoni Kempinski here with another Israeli salad, this time reenacting in order to learn history. And singers unite in memory of Reb Shlomo Carlebach. Let's begin. Shalom and welcome to Israeli Salad. First, let's see a reenactment that not only reminded us of an important historical event, but also was actually an important event itself, bringing new Olim, immigrants, and tourists to Israel. We're off to the Haifa port. The boat behind me is kind of modern. Doesn't exactly look like the Exodus ship that arrived here in Haifa 60 years ago. But nevertheless, this is a reenactment of the arrival of the Exodus ship here to Israel.
We have now an event of very emotional event of the coming back of the Exodus, the boat who came 60 years ago to Israel. But now it's coming with another condition, another atmosphere.
We had a lecture on the Exodus and the formation of the birth of Israel.
I feel great. This is a great excitement for chairman of the Jewish Agency to be here to see Exodus. It's exactly why we are here, what we're doing, and this is a wonderful day for us.
On the ship, 300 Jews from France. Among them, there were Jewish donors from France, dozens of new immigrants, Jewish children celebrating their bar mitzvah here in Israel, and Holocaust survivors.
It was amazing, great. It was very emotional and nice. I'm grateful for this reception. We are making Aliyah because we love the state, especially for the family, the children, and the future baby.
We believe that this is what Zionism is all about, and this can't stop. This is our country. There's no other. We wish that the immigrants come to Haifa. We've learned that it's very important to strengthen the north, and especially the metropolis.
We also met, down here, a few Jews who were on the original Exodus.
I was on the original Exodus. I enjoyed very much all the ceremonies, and I told my story to many, many people.
So it's 60 years later. Let's remind what we're talking about exactly. The Exodus ship left southern France on July 11th, 1947, carrying 4,500 Holocaust survivors. The British, refusing to let the ship land, boarded the ship by force and forced the refugees onto deportation boats, headed for a displaced persons camp in Germany. We actually met one of the people who were on the original Exodus. He told us that he was actually able to stay in Israel.
I succeeded to escape from the military platform at the port, and instead of being transferred to the expulsion boats, I preferred to stay here.
60 years later, after the Jewish people had to come to Israel illegally in all different ways, everyone here feels that today we're in a total different situation.
In those days, the boats that accompanied us were British. This time it was Israeli boats. That makes me very happy.
Now we don't have any fear. In those days there was a lot of fear.
Back then there were only hopes. Today we have a state with the good and the bad, but with much hope toward the future.
Welcome. And now let's go back 90 years. Did you know that it was the Australians that took control over what is today the southern Negev city of Beersheba? Well, 90 years later, a few generations later, it's time to reenact. The World War I Australian Army took over the streets of Beersheba again.
Slouch hat, usually worn down in the hot weather, tunic, bandolier, belt, bayonet, breeches.
90 years ago, during the First World War, General Allenby called on the New Zealand and Australian horsemen that are familiar with field conditions to capture Beersheba from the Turks.
Well, advance! Half section! Walk! Half!
General Allenby led the horsemen, and despite heavy shelling and many casualties, on October 31st, 1917, Beersheba was under British control. Today, the battle in Beersheba is considered one of the most important battles in the history of the Australian Army.
It's a significant part of the Australian Army's military history. We're very proud of the achievements of the officers and troopers of the Light Horse, the 4th Light Horse Brigade, as part of the Anzac Corps and their operations here in the Middle East.
The aim was to get Beersheba, to get the wells for the water, and as a combination of British, Australian and New Zealand forces, the New Zealanders and the British securing the flanks, which enabled the Australians to be able to do the charge that most famous for the Battle of Beersheba.
It was quite clear in the battle that the charge by the 4th Light Horse Brigade created quite a deal of shock. The shock action of the charge certainly carried the momentum of the attack.
I adore their commitment to their mission. They now feel connected to the Jewish state. They're here doing this travel that's almost impossible in terms of their age. They came with all their equipment. They ride with military discipline in an orderly fashion with the commander in front.
Representatives of today's Australian Army held a memorial ceremony in memory of Australian casualties buried in Beersheba. 2 of them are actually Jewish.
One of them is a relative of mine. His story was that he came from England and was killed 90 years ago on October 27th, 1917, as an English soldier. He's the cousin of my mother's grandmother.
It was 2 days after the conquering of Beersheba when Lord Balfour declared that Britain will support the establishment of a Jewish state here in the land of Israel. Good day, mate. Our next report is not a reenactment, rather the real McCoy. We'll now meet a Holocaust survivor who finally met the tree that was Hashem's emissary to save his life and rescue him from the Nazis. Yes, a tree. Take a look. Numerous trees have been planted here in the Garden of the Righteous Gentiles in Yad Vashem. They commemorate about 22,000 Gentiles who saved Jews during the Holocaust. But this time, the tree itself is the story.
The tree, it is life. The fact that I'm alive, that I went inside it and they looked for me.
In January of 1945, Yaakov Zilberstein was in a death march towards Czechoslovakia. In the first stop at the Czech border, he and his 3 friends managed to escape. In a village near Bohamin, they found the house of Yana Sadova and presented themselves as partisan fighters. Yana agreed to hide the 4 of them. Yaakov's friend were apparently killed when they tried to return to the Russian front. Towards the end of the war, German soldiers showed up at Yana's house. Yaakov escaped and hid in this hollow tree until the danger was past. He would do this again and again. Whenever there was danger present, he went into the tree, waited, and saved himself.
The tree was open-ended and I could see the sky. I wanted to sit, but I couldn't. It was too narrow. I could only bend my knees a little.
In January of 2006, Yad Vashem recognized Sadova as a righteous Gentile, making possible this ceremony in which the hollow tree trunk was unveiled.
In the darkness of the Holocaust, a few lights glimmered. Mordechai Shenhavi, who was one of Yad Vashem's founders, put it thus: the humane acts of a few will shine on for generations. These righteous people serve as proof and evidence that if someone wanted to save and help Jews, he could have. The Jewish people will not forget those who helped in its time of distress.
By telling this story, we can try to commemorate and to educate the people, the students, about the amazing story of righteous among the nation.
The sawed-off tree will not grow branches again, but it will commemorate and remind all of us of the strength and the wonderful humanity of the righteous Yana Sadova and Yaakov Zilberstein's brave struggle to survive, and commemorate those who did not survive the Holocaust.
Besides Yaakov's next of kin, the ceremony was also tended by Yana's daughter, Anna, who was 3 years old when Yaakov hid out in her mother's home.
It was clear to her that she has to help whoever is suffering. It's very good, and I'm happy that Yaakov is also happy about it.
This has to be one of the happiest moments in his life, so this feeling of joy is transmitted to me too.
So this is the first time you see the tree itself. What do you think?
Wow, how can a person fit inside? It doesn't make sense.
So just how did the tree reach Israel? 15 years after the war, Yaakov began looking for the village where his life was saved, and for the woman who saved him. A Czech journalist took interest in the story, and in the past 2 years, helped Yaakov greatly in finding Yana's house and the tree where he hid.
It's been 2 years since I heard his words. Yaakov, the dream has now become a reality. Now he can write the final chapter in his book. Maybe the name can be My Tree of Life.
It was an interesting story, yes, and I try help this man found his friends from Second World. At first interesting, but after with my heart.
Yaakov tells us as we stand nearby the tree that his experience cleaning chimneys in the labor camp helped him to clean the inside of the tree and prepare his hiding place. The way he found the tree was also quite miraculous. A rabbit scrambled into a hole of the trunk as if it was sent especially to show him how he can save himself from death.
The rabbit escaped from its pen. I ran to look for it. So I saw that it went in the tree, and I put my hand inside, and I was happy. I told her that there is a very large space inside, and if they come looking for me, I can hide inside there. I believe that there is a supreme hashgacha looking over us. Someone is watching over me. Over the years, I have been rewarded my life on 6 different occasions. All's well that ends well.
Now let's end Israeli salad with music. Am Yisrael Chai is one of Reb Shlomo Carlebach's most famous songs, maybe the most famous of them all. At the end of a special musical event that took place a few weeks ago in Jerusalem, in memory of Reb Shlomo Carlebach, all the participating singers joined together to sing Am Yisrael Chai, the nation of Israel lives. So we'll end with this beautiful song. Feel totally free to join the singing. I sure will. Join us again next time for another Israeli salad. Until then, shalom from all of us at Arutz Sheva, INN TV.